Will now come to order, and I'd like to recognize Ms. Jolene Tagabo to call the roll of the committee.
Senator Selena R. Babalta,
Presente.
Senator Karina L. Magofnia,
Geiger.
Senator Paul A. Mangonia,
Here.
Senator Donald M. Mangonia.
Present.
Madam Chair, all four members are present.
Thank you, Ms. Tagabo. Now proceeding on to the next item on the agenda, administrative and housekeeping rules. Before we proceed with today's hearing, I'd like to ask for everyone's cooperation to please silence your electronic devices at this time. We are also being streamed live on Facebook and YouTube on the Northern Marianas Legislature's website and YouTube page and Facebook page. If for any reason we need to take a break, the Facebook will continue to stream live without the audio, just so you guys are aware. And moving on to introductions, as you know, the roll was called by the LA, but I'd like to formally introduce to my far left, the chairman of the Public Utilities and Telecommunications Committee in the Senate, and also the chairman for the Federal Foreign Affairs. We have Senator Paul A. Mangonia, son of Rhoda. To my immediate left, we have Senator Karina L. Magofnia. She is the chair for the Resources and Economic Development Programs, and also she is the chair for Gaming. I am Selena Babalta, and I chair this and the Judiciary, Government, and Law committees in the Senate. To my immediate right, we have Senator Donald M. Mangonia, also a son of Rhoda, who chairs the Fiscal Affairs Committee in the 23rd Senate. I would also like to introduce the Legislative Bureau professional staff who are assisting this committee. We have our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Benter Lahi. We have our IT manager, Mr. Jonathan Diaz. We have our legislative assistant, Ms. Jolene Tagabo, and we have our legal counsel, Mr. Joe Bermudez. Manggagit pa po winigi ko tinluta sa...
Madam Chair, just a point of information.
Sure.
I want to also recognize our colleague in the Senate. Sitting in the gallery is Senator Dennis Mendiola, or other senator from here. Congresswoman Julie Ogo had to leave yesterday and couldn't be here with us. But
My apologies to Senator Mendiola. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't see people's faces, but thank you, Senator Paul. Now that we have the introductions out of the way, manggagit pa ako binigay ko tinluta sa propyo na este na lugar ni pata kondukta este na hearing sa i-kandidato ni pata ebalua para bin ebalua pa na taluani no pero mapunta pero fanyat bigi gwinigi ko ti kumuon juez pues propyo na manggagit gwini ifetsa pa go Febrero 16 hasta las 10 pasado las 2 que taluan ginigisa luta for recording purposes. I would now like to receive a motion to adopt today's agenda. Motion has been made and it has been seconded. Are there any objections to the motion or concerns? There are no objections raised, therefore the agenda is duly adopted. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Oscar M. Babalta. Mr. Babalta is the Special Assistant for Administration on behalf of Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang. He is to formally introduce the nominee to the committee, as well as the nominee herself, Ms. Lilian Adda, will take her seat after Mr. Babalta has formally introduced the nominee. Jesus Mas is bienvenido, Señor Babalta.
Jesus Mas laki, Madam Chair and member ni Executive Appointment and Government Investigation. Buenos días. Guau laki malaguzo na re saluda. Imana pauta luta ni manggagi gini siya si Senator Dennis gini tati dan ni lamigay naman yung luta gini luta sa state ni dangkul na situasi ni finaturmizo para inega o sino in fragmentos por asunto este na individual ni magaganji muna ginanji ni administrasyon Governor Honor Palacios dan Lieutenant Governor David Mundo Apatang para o nakabalis uno kay kandidato mafananan no associate judge gisang papa na koti Commonwealth Superior Court. Buenos días para todos santos dan. Bienvenido laki. Talon dai para manyalu dilentek ko siya ini totolutan si susmas ini pinatan biso. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and talon dai. Buenas tardes. Senator Donald, Senator Corina, Senator Paul, and members of all your LB Legislative Bureau staff who are here to assist the committee. My name is Oscar M. Babauta, the Special Assistant for the Administration under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of Honorable Governor Arnold I. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Honorable David M. Mundo Apatang, I thank you for the opportunity again to appear before you today. I am officially here to introduce the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor's nominee, Mrs. Lillian A. Tenorio, for the Associate Judge of the Superior Court of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. As I have said in Tinian and also the public hearing 2 weeks ago in Saipan, I am sure I will not be redundant and rhetoric about the administration nominees of Mrs. Tenorio. I'm sure that all of you have probably mastered reading her resume and her impressive experience both in public and private sector, and more so on the legal field as her most current career as a Deputy Attorney General for the Attorney General's Office, Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas. That being said, Madam Chair, I humbly request on behalf of the administration and the people of the Commonwealth to exercise your due diligence and evaluate her carefully. And I am sure that as a result of this hearing today in Rhoda, which would be her last adventure, and I thank her and her family primarily for their patience as I understand the legislative process, especially the EAGI takes a little time because not all senators are in tune with scheduling. So that being said, Madam Chair and members, I sincerely appreciate your patience and understanding in adopting a committee report that will swiftly elevate our nominee to the bench in the not too distant future. That is it. Thank you so much, and I appreciate the time and effort that you all have endured during the past several weeks in trying to wrap up this investigative hearing regarding Ms. Lillian A. Tenorio for the position of Associate Judge, Commonwealth of the Superior Court, Northern Mariana Islands. It was Masih and buenos dias to all of you. And hopefully that you found Rota to be still delicious island. My mother island. Thank you.
Mrs. Mosse, Senor Babauta. I now open the floor for public comments.
Hafadale and Tiru. It's good to be here again, the second time. On behalf of the good mayor, she's currently off island, and she sends her apologies for not being able to attend personally, but she did submit her support for the nominee, and asked me if I could read out her letter on her behalf. So, dear members of the Senate, I'm writing to express my strong support for the confirmation of Ms. Lillian Tenorio as the CNMI Superior Judge Court. I'm sorry, as the CNMI Superior Court Judge. I am confident that she will be an effective Superior Court Judge who will further strengthen the bench at the judiciary. I had the privilege of working with Ms. Lillian Tenorio during my time as a board member of the Northern Marianas Islands Housing Corporation, where I served as legal counsel, or where she served as legal counsel. I was consistently impressed by her professionalism, work ethic, and dedication to the public. Ms. Tenorio possesses the necessary qualifications, experience, and temperament to excel as a judge. She has a long history of public service, and she is passionate about ensuring that the justice system works for all residents of the Commonwealth. I have no doubt that she will continue to uphold these same values as a judge of the CNMI Superior Court. I respectfully urge all members of the Senate to confirm Ms. Lilian Tenorio to the CNMI as an associate judge to the CNMI Superior Court. She is a highly qualified and experienced attorney who will serve the Commonwealth with distinction. Signed, Aubrey M. Hoku. That's all. Thank you.
Citizens Mose, Mr. Manglonia. The floor is still open.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of this august body. I think it's a bit unorthodox for myself to be on this side of the podium. But given Ms. Lilian Tenorio's extensive background and some of the privilege I had working with her, it was just incumbent of me to come here and testify on her behalf. I've had the privilege to work with her in professional capacity as a commissioner myself and her as the deputy AG during the time when it was really controversial, the vaccine. I'm sure you guys are quite aware of that. And till this day, I'm still very impressed in some of the decisions that came about that, you know, the protection that she rendered that protected the fire department. And I commend her for that. And that's why I'm here. I'd like to, in my personal capacity, I wanted to come here and make sure that, you know, I stand on behalf of an individual who's professional, who, you know, exemplifies professionalism. She's very straightforward. I don't think she's, you know, as a common theme in modern politics, corrupted. I don't think she's any of that. So I gladly put my name, my personal name in my personal capacity in her behalf. So with that, thank you. My name is Dennis Mendiola.
Citizens Mose, I don't think you need introductions. Rightfully so. Citizens Mose, Senator Mendiola.
Buenas tardes para Hogu, Madam Chair, y comité na Committee y Judicial Review and Investigation. Inano si Crispin Manglonia Ogo. Gumaygizo guini para may testigo sa 20 años na tempo. Yan ay 33 años do sunidanon luta. May lihizo para Kongreso. The hufatsay alum nominate guest Honorable Arnold Palacios. Isinidao halum kumuguiza Legal Council para i 14 legislature. Husoda na kapas gui na tempo dan mas pago na tempo sen kapas para ihafa magaganzi para utsowi para itaw Marianas. Inamagos niya i hakumprendihit man gininmanuhit na itaw Marianas da libyano para tasongan sininteta libyano para fanono guatu giza da patadingani. Lota kumprendia na ta iinay kapasidadnya pud bandan ilay. Pusgo matata sungguh guini ufafaistin hamzu na komite na insapota inadzengnya gobernota para uno na hois gini gizota Commonwealth Superior Court. No popolo kumpiansao kumuuno zo na luta za manggaygyam zo guini na parain ina kualifikasyon niya da kumuuno do na hagas manyetbi kusenti dauli na kwalifikaw este na individual para este na tsotso i mapupunta na gobyerno. Si Zeus Mosi, and buenas tardes talo.
Cesar Smallstate, Senor, the former Congressman Ogo. The floor is still open.
Good afternoon. Guaho si Juan Pan Tenorio Guerrero. Gagi sa pagugini na taluani but usapopota si Lilian ada Tenorio para uno gi bakante na season West gi Superior Court izopta muna tres na branch government. So may preciso na inajag niya gobyerno ordinansi dan anjoy desisyon medyo na dinansi lokwe in Chechegui. Si Lilian ti nuevo ginigi wegon o pweston ligat. Si Lilian utungo ginin atman na tempo, ifamilya niya, si tata niya, si nanay niya, imanilo niya. Na dosa ko kuni, yasagwa niya si pamerintisan. Na klase nominee, sinabi alok tinamamalo. Sa gwahan yung attending hearing alatsa gida saipan ni iwes ang lalalat di pareho i-defendant ni plaintiff sa ti masasangan na pamalagoon na pauhungo. Wes debi no balansya. Debi no tunas jaw tungo o menterpli ilay. Ijota politika ti gwijazano maulik na klema sa angin man politika, man malter, man politika. Devi na sita, anjo ni manggagi pagawin na pwesto. Na politikan medyo, dapat senat, politikan tauto interamenti. Ajuda, tauto muna ni kandidato para West, ni sinya at sogichecho tunas, kabalis, abundansya is on experience para gi private, dan paugo gi presente gi Attorney General. Is on professionalism, yun na fan mamalawit, o gagagaw hanjo, na in sapota in nine medyo no konfiansa data na halong gi uno gi kandidato gi bakante na siya. I also served gi 4th, 5th, and 6th legislature. Maling nagagiga si Senator Tapo gini. I served with Senator Tapo. Pumarazo sa ko na politika ti Gebjaw manglo niya. Ati tawag nun sila. Ati mafaksa dyan i-praktika na prinsipat. Ti mafaksa i-praktika hafa no muna dang kluzulo. Lo pago na ani Madam Chair. Aglokin no Senator Magovna. Senator Po, Senator Dano. Tautoluta do. Esta do pa 3 anos gwini. Mula no gipresenti ginin sa ipan niya bira do tatilo. Tao daw lili. Gaigi do gwini be fanajuda. Iajudo ni ututsuli sufficiente. Experiensya sufficiente. Parewa dan ita na ma-nominate pago. Sufficiente todo capaz, sufficiente experiencia, sufficiente educación, Talun ko. Give na maguf. Sa gwa maguf niya, kwa manglo niya, no? Pues este ulan na yan so, undang plus itu masih zata konfitma, ay mas sadik mas maulik para gua, mas maulik loki pare Commonwealth, ang manunggi, inawa itu masih.
Cesar Smallstate, former Senator Juan Juan Guerrero. The floor is still open.
Thank you. My name is Pedro Q. de la Cruz. I'm a resident here. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I appear here before you with the utmost consideration that I am recommending and endorsing the confirmation of the nominee, Ms. Lilian Ada Tenorio. Let me say a few words of how I know the children of the late District Administrator, Lieutenant Governor, and also their mother, Ines, that I was very fortunate for Mr. Ada at that time, of which he was a district administrator, to hire me directly out of college in 1969 as the Assistant Economic Development Officer. And I've had the privilege to serve with him. I had the privilege that for him to mentor me of how of which I am right now. And during that time, Mr. Ada was not just my boss, but we became very close. And during that time, when you usually get together, I have known and become acquainted with his children, from Mary Lou to Lillian to Frank and the others. So I have known, I've had the opportunity to react with your children, especially Lillian and Mary Lou. And I also watched her career, with her legal career, of which she was very astute, very successful, and all that. And then when she became the Deputy Attorney General, that elevates her and expanded her experience legally. And I believe that when you confirm this nominee, that she will be a fair judge. She will review the aspects, and also that her decision will be fair and based on rule of law. And that is, I am sure that she will exercise that. And lastly, I'm asking you again for your consideration to favorably endorse and confirm Ms. Lilian S. Tenorio. Thank you.
Cesar Smallstate, Senor De La Cruz. The floor is still open.
Buenos días and good afternoon. Para ako honorable Senator Babalta y membro nesti para kinifirma sti nominee Senator Magofnia o Kamturota. Benti Senator po sta dan si Senator Donu con respeto a no man ngesti man magtitalo da manalit kulolo nekta na tawtawla Inaano si David Mundo Santos no Suludanon Luta si doon naman bobota. No usbobota confirmation is the nominee as Mrs. Lilian Ada Tenorio Tiogof tungo si Lilian law sigun gi manmufona na testimonyo sa dispatch no estina nominee. Ya sagwanya makay si Lilian no grasa sa Dios na baolo kalan guat 20 tantos malofan timo na maliam dan sagwanya si Lilian sa grasa sa Dios na tatsagay gaman si Ed wakam lay da tutungo na asagwa mo si Lilian no. Congratulations no maulig asagwa mo Ed. Aday no justi asagwa mo. Por favor, no upapasin todos samsugi sa holulum lagi korson mizo na nai na oportunidad si Lilian daw sauno sa Guzman ni istian guanay mapunta no Samoro ti diskriminasyon esti gi otro na nasyon na Lao Guzman ni isti sa tawgambi mas kumumprendi isti costumbrin Chamorro, kulturan Chamorro, lingwahin Chamorro, kumuti Chamorro. Pues eno nagwaw, según like I said, necesaryo na by hugof attitude lao estaw soda na por kualifikasyon, dan isti mama desisyon gi fair na manera, uhonggi na si Lilian kung confirm sa uhop daw tatanga na 20 antis dindingos tinakuti sa sinya 20 man mamamayla talo mas gwa tsansa para bay dili si Ed talo sa siyempre si Ed kung conforma si Lilian siyempre si sumaliam lokyan si Ed pues eningin na mas by husupot talay si Lilian sa por favor na niya oportunidad dan enawa mas si Jesus Mose.
Jesus Mose, Senor Santos. The floor is still open for public comments.
Buenas un saludo para este comité, si Honorable Senator Babauta, si Senator Magofnia, dan estido silu venihulo. Si sus masi na in conducta este nahi in publiko gini ge gadbo delicious dan mangi na islan luta si sus masi. Guaho si Severina Songao Atali. O disiri moment sa goa na befatatsung gini jabe gago moni sinya na sa putasyon ginin hamzu para estisia ipagwa man monana dyan man noi testimonio po si Miss Lilian Ada Tenorio. Tiutungo si Lilian lo mega beses na uhungok ane administrator ni Northern Marianas College to lao hu gostungo si tatanya anay matsutsutsudzo antis gigi 50 cents an hour tempo ni trust territory. Sinimbat ko. Esta mo na dyan, esti chelu si John Guerrero, itiu as DK, Pete de la Cruz, si Mr. Santos Giuzo, Giguato, este representa el gobierno, is un mami senator as Senator Mendiola, dan hamzut ni pumalo. Magufzo na testimonyo niya. Sa huli naman man estudia po si Lilian. Ay, teman estudia. Lao, ipunto ko gwini, huhonggi siya. Sa gwisa esti siya iman exemplary mafananan man maulik na caballeros na tauto gwini gizaluta. Ja uhonggi ifino niya. Pues gihilo ene hininggeco tinisisario na baitungo personalmente si Lilian. Está utungo pago na momento. Ja como Palawan zo enige na ho toma pa di set pa beka hulo ja fambai hu fama puntu gwini sa Palawan zo. Ja magu zo no hamzo na dos Palawan na dos chamurita gena hulo sa hafa hulili na mansasaw no ifamalawan na tempo gi gobernamentota. Antes sa nakahuhulo zo puro alalahi gi legislature. Ja puro famalawan sekretarya, assistant mama cafe man lampaso to. Ay, ti enigi esta puntota gwini. Debita fansauno gi kinalamting ilinalata gobernamentota. Pues, Señora Lilian, magufo jabe honge iuhungo na ma testimonio por hago magufo na ina punta na gobyerno na utungo na gobyerno tiningo jati uchowe gobyerno appointment jangin tiningo pues magufo jo sa popota todo desisia fumafasin namzo na po sa pota por favor gao pago Palawan sa pota monisinya ja Jesus Masi. Congratulations, Lilian, Jani Asawamo Geno, Mr. Tenorio, Tutungo Amzo, Lau, Magufoneste. Pues, let's give a big hand for a woman power. Jesus Mase.
Jesus Masi, Senora Severina Actalik. The floor is still open for public comments. Dr. Malago. So we will now close the public comments portion of the hearing. I also want to let everyone know, let the record reflect that we also received letters of support from the following individuals. Attorney Michael Ernest in his personal capacity. Attorney Lucia Blanco Maritita, a resident of Tinian. Mr. Edward Manabusan, Attorney General for the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Senor Arsini Borja, resident of Tinian. Mayor Edwin P. Aldon, Municipality of Tinian and Aguiguan. Attorney Viola Alapuzo in her personal capacity. Mr. Jose C. Mofnas, Director of Customs and Biosecurity, and also in his personal capacity. Ms. Annie Tenorio Sablon, President of Joten Enterprises Incorporated. Mr. Frank Lee Sanicolas Borja from the Municipality of Tinian, and Ms. Janice A. Tenorio, Customer Service Manager at IT&E in Saipan. The committee also received no letters in opposition of the nomination of Ms. Lilian Ada Tenorio at this time. Before I call the nominee forward, I just want to part a few words with you. We are in session today to fulfill a solemn responsibility pursuant to Article 4, Section 5 of the NMI Constitution and Title 1, Division 3, Section 3302 of the Commonwealth Code in our pursuit of a fair and impartial justice system. For the past few weeks, we have embarked on this important constitutional duty. We have held hearings for Ms. Tenorio in Tinian, Saipan, and finally here in Rota. The thorough vetting of Ms. Lilian Ada Tenorio, nominated by Governor Arnold I. Palacios on November 22, 2023, to become the 20th judge for the CNMI Superior Court and only the 4th female nominated for this esteemed position of Associate Judge at the NMI Superior Court. This esteemed court plays a vital role in safeguarding justice and upholding the rule of law in our nation. And the selection of its judges demands careful consideration and rigorous examination. I want to extend a warm welcome to Ms. Tenorio, her husband Edward, her siblings Mary Lou and Frank, and other family members present here today. We appreciate your willingness to dedicate your talents education, and experience to this critical role. We have reviewed your credentials and legal background, and we look forward to hearing your perspectives through this hearing on the principles of law and the challenges facing our judicial system. We will also be examining Ms. Tenoyo's record, experience, and temperament to ensure her suitability for this crucial position. To our distinguished committee members and professional staff of the Legislative Bureau, thank you for your commitment to this critical task. Each of you brings a unique perspective and experience to this process, and I'm confident that together we can conduct a fair and comprehensive review of the nominees' qualifications. Our Commonwealth people entrust us, this committee, with the responsibility of ensuring that our judiciary is composed of individuals of the highest caliber, individuals who are committed to upholding the Constitution, applying the law fairly and impartially, and serving with integrity and respect. Through this hearing, we aim to fulfill that responsibility and ensure that the NMI Superior Court continues to be a beacon of justice for all. Before this committee comes Deputy Attorney General Ms. Lilian Ada Tenorio to be vetted. This is a position of immense trust and public importance, demanding the highest standards of legal acumen, integrity, and the commitment to the rule of law. I encourage everyone to approach this process with respect and open minds. The questions we ask are not meant to be adversarial, but rather to gain a deeper understanding of the nominee's qualifications and her potential impact to the court. To the family members of the nominee and members of the public who are witnessing this process, I extend a warm half a day. Zan benvenido para todos samzo. Ni man tistitigo pa ko gestin na partigi demokrasia ginigitanota. I now invite Ms. Lilian Tenorio to please take her seat and to please remain standing and raise your right hand, and Ms. Tagaba will administer the oath to you.
Lilian A. Tenorio, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
With that, I now give the floor to the nominee, should she choose to do so, to address the committee and the public here today. And then we will begin our questioning portion of the hearing.
I choose to present some testimony.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, Senator Babalta, Senator Magofnia, Senator Paul Manglotnia, and Senator Donald Manglotnia. I just want to point out, malagwazo no mo address, ndongkulo na sujus mo asi, pwede ju siya man matumagi za man testify, ma present no testimonio, masapapatay sa nomination, zawa mo mensiona na finantres 1, 2, 3, 4, no former clients. So nice words to say, bonito no is nido impression, ni titoo, ni tanano ni set bihanzu, como house legal counsel in private practice, or counsel from the Attorney General's office and representa agency. Preciso small seat put finatan mizo and sapota siyang mizo pago. Thank you again, Chairperson Babalta and the committee for giving me the opportunity to testify on my behalf. This is the third time that I will do so before this committee. I thank the committee for considering my nomination as Associate Judge for the Superior Court and for this hearing today in Rhoda. I also appreciate the attention and diligence that you and the committee have given to my nomination. Your committee and the Senate plays an important role in the constitutional process for confirming judicial nominees. I am humbled by the confidence that Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang have placed in me with this nomination. I have carefully considered it, this calling to a new role in government, which will bring me from advocate to that of an independent arbiter within the judicial system. If confirmed, I know that my life will change professionally and personally And I am prepared to make that sacrifice to ensure that my service as an associate judge will maintain confidence in the integrity, impartiality, and fairness of the judicial branch, to uphold the rule of law, and to ensure equal access to justice. I was born, raised, and educated in the Northern Marianas and raised a family here. And I have called Saipan my home, as did my parents and generations before them. Some of you, Mr. De La Cruz, I'm so happy that you are here. You know my father, Francisco Castro Edda, and my mom, Ines Tequera Semen Edda. They started off their professional career as school teachers. And it was very heartwarming for me to hear how my father was also a mentor for you. And I appreciate hearing that, because he really was an important teacher to all of myself and my siblings. They taught us important lessons on good citizenship, respect of others, and the work ethic that there is no substitute for hard work, either in your family life or professionally. You have to work hard at it. My father's dedication to public service and my mother's unwavering influence on the importance of constant learning steered all of us, their children, to pursue higher education and careers in public service. As a little girl, I remember fondly my father giving us home lessons in history and in civics. He was a voracious leader and loved to gather information and read about the points of view of others. When he passed in 2010, my siblings and I discovered a trove of newspaper clippings that he cut out and put in his file, one of the file drawers. And one of them stood out to me, and it was a piece I think was written by Jane Mack. She hasn't called me to tell me that it wasn't her, but I'm assuming that it was her. And the title of the piece was called "The Myth of the Lazy Local Worker." And I suspect that my father kept that article because it debunked the myth the local workers are lazy, and he took umbrage over the often broad characterizations of Indigenous people. He was proud to be Chamorro and also proud to call himself a Micronesian. My mother was part Japanese, Rafalawash, and Chamorro, and raised us to appreciate and respect her diverse heritage. My mom taught us the importance of having a curious mind, to explore the world and life, and not to be afraid to step outside of one's comfort zone to do good. My mother would remind us, especially her daughters, there were 6 of us and 1 son, that no matter your gender, you can succeed in anything that you put your mind to. I pause now to remember my mom's lasting lesson to me, that all of this, Lillian, whatever it is that you do in your life, don't forget to thank God, because it is He who makes things happen. My parents' life lessons is the bedrock of who I am. They have nourished me as a daughter, sister, wife, mother, and even grandmother, and has guided me through my more than 24 years of experience as a lawyer. You have been, my 2 siblings who are here have been introduced. My sister, Mary Lou, she's the oldest, and my only brother, Francisco. And I'm glad that they're here today, because my parents are watching from above, and I believe that they would be pleased that we're all here together as a family at this time to commemorate their memory. Last and not least, Mr. Santos, I know that you think my husband is the better half, and we will try to come to Rhoda so that you and he will not have 20 years in between the last time that you met. But without his unconditional love and encouragement, and our 2 sons, Christopher and Andre, I wouldn't be here today. We are true partners in our marriage, and I'm grateful for his support, and especially of my decision when I said, you know, hey, look, I want to go to law school. And that required me to move off island, first initially by myself, and then with my sons for 3 years. And so I'm really grateful for that support that he has given me throughout my career. My eldest son, Christopher, lives in Oregon with his partner, Britta. He has a daughter, Kyrie, and a newly born son, Connor. And he works as a recruiter for the city of Hillsborough. Andre is a professional engineer in the private sector, and he calls Saipan home. He's not here today. He couldn't get a flight, confirmed coming and leaving and returning. So he is in Saipan. He has a wife, and they have two sons, Logan and Liam, and you met Logan on Saipan. I wish he could come today. He was all for skipping school, but not his mom. Now, the committee has had an opportunity to review my CV and the answers to the questions, to the questionnaire that you had me fill out. And, to summarize it, one might describe my career as a full, comprehensive legal journey. And it began as a humble legislative assistant. It's Jolene, is it her? Oh, okay. And so maybe one of these days, Jolene, you'll be in my seat. But it started out that way as I delved into the intricate workings of the legislative branch and developed a keen understanding of crafting and interpreting laws. This foundation from my work at the legislature and the encouragement of the late Maya Cara led me to pursue a legal career and started me in a journey that continues to unfold. At the University of New Mexico School of Law, I was impressed by all of my law professors. They were all terrific. But three stand out to me, and the first one is Professor Emeritus James Ellis. He taught constitutional law and the constitutional rights class that I attended. I was impressed with Professor Ellis's tireless advocacy for people with mental disabilities in civil and the criminal justice systems. He is recognized as the legal scholar in the United States on the rights of the mentally disabled and has appeared before the Supreme Court, congressional committees, and state legislative committees throughout the nation, arguing for and fighting for the right of people with disabilities and improving their access to justice. Another professor, the late Ann Scales, taught tort law and contemporary jurisprudence, both of which I attended. And she opened my eyes to examine the law in a different way, and not the usual black letter law. Her jurisprudence class was a reflective moment for me to examine what my role would be as a lawyer, as a woman of color, living in the far-flung territory of the United States, out somewhere in the Pacific, which in New Mexico is very, you had to show them where it is on a map. My own background and history, and what kind of lawyer would I be? Lastly, Professor Emeritus and former Dean Robert Desiderio. He should be a familiar name to those who have attended the past pre-law programs, and he worked with the late Justice Ramon Villagomez to encourage students and professionals from the Northern Marianas to attend law school. I was a participant in the 1995 program, and I'm proud to be part of that legacy. After law school, I came home and I had a clerkship in the Superior Court and Supreme Court under Justice John Manglonia, where I honed my analytical framework and garnered a deep appreciation for the meticulous application of legal principles to relevant facts. After my clerkship, I went on back to the legislature and served as House Legal Counsel for the House of Representatives. That would be the time that former Congressman Ogo was a member of the House back in the 14th. So I embraced the challenge of navigating the intersection of law and policy. And I'm glad that I was able to be of help to him, and I made an impression on him. Usually I'm very stern, and I usually explain probably a little too much in detail about why a proposal should be written this way in order to meet the legal sufficiency test. After the House of Representatives, I went on to private practice for about a little bit more than 10 years, and I engaged in a diverse range of legal fields from administrative law to family law, corporate law, probate, and was even tapped to be for criminal defense by the court to represent defendants in several criminal cases representing indigent defendants. There, I mastered the skills of effective representation, and it is this private sector experience that provided me invaluable insights into how competitive the legal field can be in the Northern Marianas. In 2015, I returned to public service in my current position as Deputy Attorney General for the Honorable Edward Manibusan, who is now serving his third term as Attorney General. My principal duty has been to serve as the primary counsel for the departments and agencies and to oversee the staff attorneys who are assigned to each agency. I have dedicated myself to providing sound legal advice to our agency clients with the preparation of legal opinions and opinion letters, and also representing the Commonwealth in assigned litigation matters. Now, this full circle trajectory through all the three branches of government has not only given me a comprehensive understanding of the law, but has also instilled in me the versatility and resilience required to serve as a well-rounded legal professional. If confirmed, I look forward to the new challenges presented of serving as an associate judge. I understand that the role of a judge, as I've mentioned, I'm shifting from being an advocate to being an independent arbiter of cases properly brought before the court, where decisions are made impartially by evaluating facts and interpreting and applying law. I will commit to work efficiently and effectively to support and defend the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth, the Covenant, and the applicable provisions of the United States Constitution, laws, and treaties. And that's all I have, and we'll answer any questions that you may have.
Senora Tenorio. At this time, I will recognize Senator Palmer Lawyer to begin our question portion.
Gimagarista tukat adjourn estado. Madam Chair, I want to thank you and the committee for having this public hearing in all the senatorial districts, and for that opportunity for our people to be here this afternoon. I want to thank you, Lillian, and your husband, Ed, your siblings, Mary Lou and Frank, for visiting us here on Rhoda with this hearing. My first question actually has been answered when you stated that you're prepared to take on the sacrifice of being a judge. And I wanted to ask that because we all laughed when Dave Santos said, Ed, don't leave your wife. And that's a serious statement for me because it's not easy being a judge, right? In a small community, Teginisi de Kiki Isla, you know, you want to go to a party or you want to go eat at a restaurant or go to the beach, you always have to be careful because if you're seen with one party in a case and, you know, you just happen to amen, they already say that judge is corrupted. So it's not easy, and so I guess it will be tough on it, no it. So you always have to be careful. And that's, again, is a major sacrifice. It's going to be a big change in your life, and I appreciate that you have accepted that, and you accepted the governor's appointment, nomination, and that's why we're here. So I'm happy that you understand that. I don't really know your dad, but growing up, you know, he would come visit our house, have dinner with my dad, because for those that are very young here, many of you are young, and you know, antes before the Commonwealth government, we are under the trust territory. The district administrator was a district administrator para FSM, para Palau, CNMI, no, Marianas, si Mr. Ada Guiza district administrator, Gwini, the district administrator Kalabanatsu rep para luta ng tinian no swetizo sa si dipunto tao na matanso da kada matumagi gimamami gwanay maduduro lang zo sa na bilikeron zo na da tidebi be fan tsatsung gilamasa sa wasya quintus ninya lo no kada magay dipunto no aliam Tuloy po no maulik siya na leksyon nanay sa izo na ne utungo namzuma ogo nga tanso liko kada kwestiyono isto utungo na isensya, edukasyon, animoson mizo na yan na pamagun ginin manamko no. Pues logo ha mapaisin do paisin no uno dos kwestiona na gimagawa estado listo para no forma desisyon no we're seeing many cases sit for months, sometimes years, without any final written decision. No, Martin Luther King, I believe, was the one who said, "Justice delayed is justice denied." No, so what do you think is a reasonable time frame for decisions to be rendered, especially when a trial is concluded? How do you balance the need for efficient case resolution with the importance of a thorough and fair judicial process? Have you encountered any practices or procedures that could be improved to expedite cases without sacrificing due process? Pues, afamon siya bagang judge no naisinya isi tanagwa diniti latsadik na desisyon gikuti siya na sa ini uno no sesu ungu ganausok na apa tunga na ti judge lo gi one party lo ki za no lilia se causa carrera niña no gini gikuti temano siya ta na latsadik isti siya yung opinion.
The exercise, see Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they're like absolutely nothing. I can't say anything. But I will say, kaino na comments yan, no? Often na tinataka tempo i-judge na puro render no desisyon. Ganabe ni masanga ni i-justices loki. Edja sinya bisanga na usanga na gizoku no pagmunanaza ni zoku testimony nileko bikumitizo. Zabi fatsutsui imana na sinyahu kasi kisinya no uhuzun afa na desisyon gi timely na manera ne so tungwa na importante loki para edge siya manananga i kehanti i defendanti parties na to litigation importante para siya pumatungo afa i resulta afa i desisyon i juez i asunto afa siya na issue afa na izunya dispute ni matuli gato gikoti importante para siya loki po maketungo afa i desisyon ikoti pues bitogwi eza sinya bi prometi ho na bitogwi mana na sinya ko ni sinya bi fatina si desisyon afa na desisyon manaizu afa na issue manaizu babi resolve babi fatina desisyon inigi importante utungo ha sa ginene experience ko loki matotso gi Attorney General's Office kung todo lokwi i private practice na isang client no ni sita un take care gini na kalan ang so ganon analogy isang client ni publiko offer ni sinya no una mas no maulig mo na una latsadi i decision ko na ba i issue ni no sinya complicado a little bit complicated it might be the resources you don't have you have a lot of cases, you're snowed, especially in the trial court, the Superior Court. That happens. But all I can tell you, Senator, is that I will do my best, my very best to work efficiently and effectively to, as a judge, to make decisions in a timely manner.
Okay. Si dus monse no benatira no danisti itungo temano by pegasti no diesti tali na komunidad no wala bene man hire lawyer no takong para taxpayer lawsuit or wala bene bula siya conflict no of interest si lawyer siya timalago na para hire siya sa wala man acto mo dan the other party very hard na the no manyoda lawyer the no wanaling mo siya gwagwan siya po na posilo no timambalagwa no za utunga na David Tapute i dota local no licensed lawyers siya no Lo guanabe nisti como barabandan taxpayer lawsuit banungido dan sti bandan white collar crime na niji gua panon follow up na no apa opinion mo puristi apa natisinya be panayer niji ma license Guam para Hawaii para Amerika nutakya under US jurisdiction na apa natisinya was ji special cases na isinya ta hire ji za no ta presumo na i causa no sasangan isti sa masusese de no ji toru do agua conflict niya i outro party duro managang lawyer pues managang siya lingas conflict siya na sa dikiki i komunidad pues ungang gua pago sistema neji sinya un panguni local council no gua ano presidente lo no mapus no begen buroto no siya na applications and guanay guaguan mampus no za taza malagota para ta natsadika mo ne causa tililekta para ta hire ji i taza experiencia niya pati malisensya gi utru banda gi za Amerika za masusesi da este Amerika di sinya man-hire o kung takiling niya nagwado niya license at timanayo bulang bureaucratic process na para on-hire. Kasi no gua manera, gua siya ta rekomenda no neji tana posible no na para na smooth mo honesty. Apa yung opinion mo?
And no, Guahat rules of admission, no, rules of licensing lawyers. That is up to the Supreme Court, and then if it's a proposed rule, it comes to the legislature for approval. So I would say that would be something for the legislature to discuss, perhaps with the judiciary to see how those rules can be changed. But as they stand now, I think you're referring to reciprocity rules as well, and I don't think we have full reciprocity as of yet, but that is something that has been under consideration by other jurisdictions, but we don't have that same kind of flexibility that you have in other jurisdictions. Tatlo is a Pristina issue, and no, it's arising to the level of a public policy concern to ensure that our residents, our people, citizens have adequate legal representation, then that would be an issue that would be raised with the Supreme Court.
Pero ada ni engineers na malalicense sa CNMI lo sinya i license Guam mano magi zaman to decide man stamp no tilele ko na patasemba ba lo ilele ko na sinya biti tumunog i opposition niya bill niya no billing na or per hour no rate niya tumunog na za lo imas gini actually mo sa tupaw iji gwanay makat man manguni sa tura mang conflict za no gizawa debil kita tane no ne tipo mana gop makat no pues sinya binti tungan nila mo Supreme Court lo sinya mzu man mitus at pa ne no na situasyon sa pagwaw no public interest no no Madam Chair, zona bena oportunidad pumalo members si sumasi is no tungan na sinya lalagdizo lo sta listo. Thank you.
So just want to say, Senator Paul. Tigo pulan una questione esta para ben paisen actually i candidato por razón esta en conducta sa parlo hearing is a tinian sa ipan bulasta na questione en paisen git cosa que sinya cada individual ginuhulo o fatinas no decision niya no taimano por fambota zangin mo to gisene lo Guaha in los contos no estamos hazan y candidato en paisen put capital punishment en paisen put sensanya sa cosa que sinya hami lo que gwini no hain fot mahami hafana klasin individual ke candidato zagin no ni sinya en fatina se decision mami lo que pues sinya 24 pula cuestiona lo gaha lectar no unos contos ground. Ms. Tenorio, the recent case on, let me pull it up. in the United States Supreme Court with respect to abortion, the Dobbs decision. Can you inform us, what are your thoughts on that? Yes, and it's basically reversing the Roe versus Wade right to abortion for a female to have an abortion.
It places the decision with the state government, with the Commonwealth government. So under the Constitution, there's an outright prohibition unless as provided by law. So it is within the purview of the lawmaking branch, which is the legislature, to consider what sort of regulation would be appropriate for abortions. I mean, it took it out of the federal and made the states responsible. That's why you see all these differing results with states being more strict with abortions, and other states that are more lenient. You have women traveling to different states in order to get abortions performed, so that because they're available there, but they're not. It's not available, for instance, in Texas. So it places it in the hands of the states and the territories in the Commonwealth. You have an outright ban on abortions unless as provided by law. So however the legislature sees fit to regulate it, that is within your purview.
Do you feel that a woman has the right to have an abortion?
I'm going to reserve that because that issue will definitely come up. And I think that I will be guided by whatever decision is made by the legislature. It's not an outright prohibition constitutionally, but it does say as the legislature may choose to regulate.
Thank you.
Sure.
Recognize
Just a
Senator
follow-up
Paul.
on that. So the Constitution says that it's illegal. So there being no federal, with the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court coming out with that decision, does that put us in some legal uncertainties now in the CNMI? Or I don't know how that legally works now with that Supreme Court decision.
I would have your legal counsel advise you on the status of abortions in the Commonwealth. But there used to be, with Roe v. Wade, there was, federal recognition that it is a federal right, falling under the strain of the right to privacy and all of that. It's not a constitutional right, but it falls under the Fourth Amendment strain. But it was a fundamental right. I'm going to confuse everything, but I'm going to leave it up to your legal counsel to advise you on that particular issue. And if I'm confirmed, I will take a look at if there's any law that you have passed and enacted concerning regulating abortions in the Commonwealth.
Are you done? Thank you, Senator Paul. Next question. You know yourself best. What do you feel are your disadvantages? Let's say you were confirmed to become an associate judge. What do you feel your roadblocks are that would prevent you, let's say, from making decisions that appeal to a person's inner self, or and besides, even though, because a judge has to rule with temperament, following the law, but also with compassion and wisdom are two important attributes to be for a good judge. What do you think your impediments are, knowing yourself better than we do? Do you have any impediments that that may require you to recuse yourself, depending on what the case is?
Well, there are rules of recusal that are provided for by statute and under the canons of judicial conduct. In that, I will observe if it becomes necessary. But in terms of weaknesses, it's hard to say. I'm not a judge yet. I think that my strengths are I'm independent. I do have patience, and I do understand. I have empathy. But but I also know that I work very hard to try and work those issues out. And I can't think off the top of my head. I've been writing things to support myself, say this is what my good qualities are and why I should be confirmed. Why you shouldn't, maybe it's not why you shouldn't confirm, but what are things that can bog me down. I love to research. I'm a researcher through and through, and maybe that might be my weakness because I like to look, make sure everything is that I've not uncovered. That I've uncovered every stone, not leave any stone unturned. And that may be that weakness of mine in terms of making sure, okay, that's enough. You need to make a decision. You've researched everything you can, but I do love to research, and that could be a disadvantage sometimes. But I've worked hard on that to be efficient. When you're in the private sector, when you have clients who are waiting, and when you have to be efficient.
About to go back to Senator Paul's question, and how do you hope to practice efficiently? But you've answered the question, and I don't
work
have,
hard at it.
I don't have any other questions for you. Recognize any of the other two who haven't. Recognize Senator Corina Magofnia.
Jus Mossy, Chairwoman Bubauta, bitagi mo go in the same line ni mga kwento sa moro lubi fangogo dispensasyon in advance dangin uusa palabra ni ti gif din Nancy but bitagi ni na sinaw mo kwentos gifin sa moro. So buenas tardes, then half day to you again talo Miss Tenorio ni familia mo, especialmente para i toto luta ni ang gift friendly no taza or está claro dan taza questão por qualidade mo abundância e mo qualification educação mo experiência mo dan mas que capaz ho para fazer big kotig este na posisyon ni West, right? That's how you say it. Sa taza no question no put ano na banda sa uhongi anyo ata utay so ata ni sa mo resume na taza deficiency gwi taza problema. Ue ekumuk todo tauto ni manolong pamanai ni testigo dan suportasyon niya guato para hogo ni pon na confirma za based on offer masangan mas claro tatlo gi para guapo na dinansi na kandidat ma atik ni gobernota dan sa lieutenant governor. A question ni Pabi Faison is not related kat some qualification lo ani un decide para un pursue isang law degree malago zubi tungo ginenhogo dangin sinya un share ko un tungo half an class in lawyer you wanted to be ani un decide
Often a class in lawyer. That's a kailan onso na question. I guess I could be. My parents referred to me as the irreverent one, independent one. I don't like labels. I march to my own drum sometimes. A lot of times, often a class in lawyer. Di malum ano ginasok ko, I had to survive law school. Different na class in environment, ni Gayo, different na class in curriculum learning. Ti parel za na ni Gayo gi undergrad. Pues inigi utungo na pagwo, I had to survive law school, and I wanted to make sure na upasi bar sa taza balinya como isomo tipo taza balinya lo como ti upasi bar ti sinya promactis. So Tuli Dishana courses, mostly what they call bar courses, to make sure that I could pass the bar and that I'd be licensed. lo mensiona gizahogo gwalo ki intereso ibandan often a class in lawyer when you look at yourself as a person of color, no, yeah, it's a moruzu, it's a moral Carolinian with Japanese heritage. Todo itzigi mo na mababa matoho sa comprendi often mas makat para guapo babi attendi law school the ukeke figure out often often tisinya no moli kizoko grade or tisinya comprendi concepts and irasonsa in otrobanazu different is of thinking. So I have to accept that. But what I wanted to do was really to be successful as a lawyer, to serve clients and to try as many things as I possibly can. And I think it shows in Zoku legal journey. In law clerk para Guatui legislature for about 3 years, private practice, which was a difficult experience because you have to, be out there and you have to bill, which isn't my favorite thing to do, but it's necessary. It's an experiencia lo que wizu na importante oron ekungok mas importante no oron ekungok client is a client afamalagonya, and so that has served me very well. The patience, and so I didn't enter law school to go to a big firm or anything like that. And he's a first year baby intern or extern at a pretty big firm in Albuquerque. Lo otra is sinentekku babiano tatti pa Saipan migilo kiutumwa na babiano tatti. So I said no, I'm going to go back to Saipan and bring my 2 kids over. So I knew that was important. It's important to know yourself, most importantly, and what you want to achieve. But I didn't have labels of, I want to do this. I didn't have really a bucket list. I just wanted to do like different things.
So just masini so more response. Ufaisin ho neno na question sa guasha na abogado, right off the bat they know what they want to practice in family law, corporate law, whatever other laws there are out there, defense lawyers. And I was curious whether or not you had already knew what you wanted to pursue and aspired to be, and also and where you are now. I mean, did it follow the idea that you have? So I was just curious to see where you started and where you are now.
Well, it ended up with public interest law, working for the Attorney General's office, and that's eventually I had to develop an interest in that. Public policy was still something very strong, but I wanted to be a lawyer. Professor Desiderio told me when I got out of law school, Lillian, first you have to know how to be a lawyer. So that kind of resonated with me, not to, do other things or get into politics or do this. I wanted to be a lawyer, whatever that meant. And I think it's taken me through that journey to become a fully, rounded legal professional, having served in different capacities.
Great. Thank you so much for your response. You, Madam Chair?
Chair, sino ba follow-up?
Recognize Senator
Follow-up
Pamangon.
sa stand serve na landman as deputy AG. Gi palabra genozung na simpi malogo pa attorney general next na the offer na diferencia ji as far as for public service is algo on judge but regular attorney general no.
You go from advocate, right? Advocating for the Commonwealth, and then now to be judge, you're an independent arbiter. It's a different experience altogether. When you're an attorney general, you are serving in the office of the attorney general. Your interest is to protect the Commonwealth, to mitigate the risks to the Commonwealth government, and to prosecute on the prosecution side, prosecute those who perpetrators of crimes, and so uphold the rule of law in a different way through law enforcement. So it's a different thing altogether, but still the same in the way that you analyze legal issues. It's a little different, but you still, I think with it's the same process of examining legal issues. It's the same thing that Joe does as your House Legal Counsel. You research, you look at the issue. What is it that you're trying to look for? What issue are you exploring? And then going on and doing your legal research, looking at Commonwealth law, looking at what the Supreme Court has said. Is there anything else, Superior Court decisions that may be helpful? And then going on to look at what the 50 states and the other territories have ruled on an issue. But it's a little different. I guess my law clerk capacity comes back, and it's that it's a little bit more thorough. You realize that, when you're going to be making decisions that affects the life of someone who's before you, a party before you. So that's a little different versus the overall looking after the Commonwealth. And you may be affecting someone's life, but what you're doing is to protect the Commonwealth and to prosecute laws and be in a law enforcement environment.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Recognize again, Senator Corina Magonia.
Thank you, Chair. Just follow up to not to your response to Senator Paul. So, you're right that the decisions that you will make in the future will absolutely impact the lives of many people who are before you. And I know that in all three public hearings you shared with us that you do possess the quality of empathizing. And so with that, I would like to know how does your empathy influence your judgment or your adherence to the law? Does that make sense?
What's the last part? I'm sorry.
How does your empathy, how will that influence your judgment or your how does your empathy influence your judgment or adherence to the law?
It's in the background, but it's there. But if confirmed, as I mentioned, you go to being an independent arbiter. Parties come before you with complaints, with issues, and you are supposed to decide it looking at the law and interpreting it and then applying it to the relevant facts. It's not a mechanistic process, but you have to follow it. And there may be discretion that's given to a judge based on, the statute may give the judge some kind of discretion. There may be mitigating circumstances. There may be aggravating circumstances in deciding a criminal defendant's sentence. And so those are all part and parcel of what the decision-making is all about. So it's not a mechanistic, largely not a mechanistic process, but you have to look at the facts before you. And even though I say this, it's 3 steps and you're done, there's more entailed. There's more thinking and evaluating, interpreting, and more brain power is exercised to come up with a decision.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I now would like to recognize Senator Donald Maloney.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to everyone here today. Ms. Tenorio, we're approaching the end of this confirmation hearing process, and so I just want to thank you for, making your way to Rhoda as well as Tinian and having that opportunity to hear about what you will provide to the CNMI if confirmed. You made a statement earlier to Senator Paul in regards to having to make the decisions that would affect the life of these parties, and so I just wanted to ask if you've ever been treated for any emotional or mental health issues.
No.
Thank you. Have you ever made any decisions during your career where even up until today you've thought about that maybe you wish you could have changed or done differently, or just have affected the way you approach law in a new sense?
Maybe, but I can't think off the top of my head. I mean, we all have that sense of, I could have done it this way, better this way. But ultimately, you just have to sleep with yourself. Otherwise, how can you function as a lawyer? You have to do the very best that you can. I mean, that's the important thing, is to approach a matter, an issue that's brought before you. In my case, as an attorney representing a client, and do the very best that you can. Be as thorough as you can so you minimize the risk of going, I should have done it this way. But I'm sure I should have done some things differently. But
Thank you. Thank you for that.
that's to be honest. We're all humans.
Right. What would you regard as your most significant contribution to the law and the pursuit of justice in the CNMI?
I would say that my work as Deputy Attorney General, because it was when I was appointed by the Attorney General to serve as deputy, we were entering a new phase, a new stage for the office as the first elected office independent of the governor, and what that all meant, and in terms of the relationship between the governor and the Attorney General, and the office, and being in the executive branch, and so figuring out, how to remain independent has been important to exercise what the people voted on when they passed that legislative initiative to create the office as an elected office. And so that was, to me, important, even learning about, because it's the public interest side of my brain being activated, and learning a great deal, because it's a very different approach that you, to researching matters, that you're looking at the Commonwealth, and you're looking at, how to help agencies figure out what kinds of programs, how to do things. And so I take that to be, the contribution that I've made as deputy is to be one of the more lasting significant in my career. I mean, I'd have to say that, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And for your contributions to the CNMI. And, just my closing comments, if confirmed, I hope that you and the rest of the sitting judges maybe look into more programs that maybe would provide some sort of outreach towards the schools. Just in the last 2 days, Chief Justice, I know, was in the classroom, both at the high school and the elementary. And as a former educator and having to coach mock trial, there's very little opportunities for students to learn about the law and be involved in all things law. And we don't have that many cases here where students can come and sit in and see how the process works. And so I hope that if confirmed as judge, you look at those opportunities to have our students engage in the legal process to kind of spark their interest in the law. My brother became a lawyer, and I don't know if that was credited to being in mock trial when he was in high school, but a lot of my classmates, not one of my classmates, became a lawyer, I think, and that was because of the opportunities that we've had growing up. There wasn't much experience in terms of the legal side of things, and so I hope that those are some of the things that we can provide our students, especially here in Rhoda, and maybe even continuing to engage. And I know that the court is attempting to bring some of those stuff back, like what's the summer program, the pre-law, but even that, right? Our students are challenged in terms of looking for places to stay in Saipan just to attend a program such as that. And so with that, with all the comments provided by the public here on Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan, I have full faith in your ability to serve the judicial system. And I just wanted to express on the record my full support for your confirmation. So thank you for your time here today. And thank you for visiting Rhoda.
Thank you also for having it here. When I told my husband about the 3-hearing process for my nomination, it was, hands down, we're going to all the 2 other islands. So it's been a eye-opening journey for me as well. I have never had to speak about myself in so many times and to hear others speak on my behalf. And that has been an interesting journey, but I also appreciated the opportunity to just observe and look around. And you know, there are 3 main islands of the CNMI, and I think it's important that that judicial nominees are heard also, that there are hearings on the other 2 islands, Rota and Tinian. And I hear you about the importance of outreach programs by the courts and any other program out there with the executive branch or even the legislature. You have a lot more hearings here and sessions. I know that you have it in the different islands, and I think that's wonderful. You know, in Saipan, I had my first grade teacher. I pointed out to her, I wanted her to come to my hearing and point out to her because she made such an impression on me throughout my life. So yes, don't knock what kind of impression you know, an effective presenter can be, a teacher, or just a public speaker can be on the lives of children. It's a game changer for many. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Malonia. Before the committee dismisses you, I wish to express on behalf of the committee our confidence in your abilities and your experiences to assist the NMI judiciary, and it would be our privilege to recommend to advance your nomination for confirmation. So thank you, you are dismissed.
Thank you. Sizusmase.
Next item on the agenda is miscellaneous. Does anybody have any other miscellaneous matters to take care of? None? Can I get a motion to adjourn today's hearing?
So move.
Thank you. Motion has been made and it has been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This meeting is hereby adjourned at 3:38 p.m.